Okay, folks, I'm calling this an emergency project. My buddy Sky doesn't have access to a welding machine, so he brought his TJ frame and new suspension kit over to my shop. This is the Metalcloak long arm kit. There you can see the skid plate connected to the frame brackets. This is a really beefy setup. I've been out of the Jeep game for a really long time, so I had no idea this kit was developed. It looks to be all 1/4 inch thick material. So I have jumped forward into the future because I realized I didn't talk about this bolt and that bolt, and they are the same on the other side. Disregard the mud, you'll see why. But what we had to do with these is drill a hole through the frame, insert a sleeve into the frame, weld around that, and then install this bolt. It's just a crush sleeve. I'm sure you know that if you put this bolt in here and you tighten down on it really hard, you will crush this frame. So they supplied a 1-inch sleeve to insert into the frame to help protect the frame from crushing. I really like this long arm kit. I'm really impressed with it. This frame is new to him. His frame had rust holes in a few spots, so he went over to pull apart and found a solid frame to build off. He is going back with the factory axles. He just wants this to be a quick build, no waiting on parts, just reinstall what he knows works. This is the rear Dana 35. I have already cut off the factory upper control arm mounts. Let's take a look at the new Metalcloak upper control arm mounts. Here is the passenger side. Here is the driver's side with the track bar mount. These upper control arm mounts are so much larger than the factory mounts. The factory mounts fit inside of the new mounts. They need to be larger because of the massive joints that are on the new Metalcloak control arms. Right here I'm grinding, I'm looking up to make sure that I'm not throwing sparks on something that I can catch on fire. You can kind of see that I'm fidgety, I'm moving around quite a bit, I think, and it's because this was uncomfortable. So I realized this is taking too long, it's going to take a while, so I went over and got a cart. That way I could sit down and grind on it and get it clean and be comfortable while doing it. Okay folks, I have the axle all cleaned up. Here is your driver's side, upper control arm mount, and track bar combo. And now here is the passenger side, all cleaned up, ready to weld. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tack these in place to start, and I'm going to put the axle underneath the truck and make sure that the brackets are where they need to be before I permanently weld them on. Right here I'm checking to make sure the coil spring bucket is level, and once I ensure that coil spring bucket is level, then I'm going to put the upper control arm mount level in a vertical plane. I'm going to do this on both sides, the driver's side and passenger side. And like I said, I'm only going to tack them in at first because I want to make sure that this is the right idea. Okay, so I tacked on the brackets. I brought the axle underneath the frame. I connected the lower control arms first. From there, I just tilted the axle forward, which is tilting the pinion down, and then I connected the upper control arms, and it looks good like this. But what I'm going to do is put on the coil springs, lift it up, put on the tires, and have the back end as a roller to make sure, still making sure that those brackets are in the right place before I permanently burn them in. We are finished with this rolling chassis with the Metalcloak suspension system. Let's get Sky. Sky is the proud owner of this chassis. It was pouring rain in this morning. That's why the shop is so nasty. 120% humidity in Louisiana. Earlier you saw that I had the axle hanging and I had just tacked on the brackets for the upper control arms. They're fully welded on now. So the Metalcloak suspension system is installed. Now, I didn't show you the installation of the front axle because there is no modification required to the front axle. I just took the front axle and I connected it to the control arms the same way I did in the rear. I connected the lower control arms first and then tilted the pinion down in order to connect the radius short upper arms. I haven't found anything on the internet that shows the whole system like this. Unfortunately, Sky had to buy a new frame from the pull-apart because his frame was rotten. So he went and picked out the best frame he could find. We're all really impressed by the system. It's really heavy duty. 2-inch DOM lower control arms. I didn't know anything about this until Sky bought this kit. It will unlock and act as a 3-link system, giving the front end more flex in off-road environments. Well, I told you it was nasty. Just trying to get the frame out, trying to get the chassis back to Sky's house. Stuck. Yes, I did turn traction control off, but with these new Fords, it seems like it doesn't matter if you turn traction control off. It's not truly off. Very irritating. So Frankie is gonna have to come and rescue me. Frankie to the rescue. We actually don't have a good tow hook mounted on Frankie yet. This is a good reason for me to get on that. Okay, from tib, we have a cable around the basketball goal to a snatch block over here on the tree. And then I have a hood underneath the leg to act as a ski. And we have that cable there going around it. We're all communicating with radios. Okay, Nathan, start creeping forward again.
Copy.
Getting to the difficult part. Going up this hill. Give it a little bit of gas, bud. You're starting to go up the hill. The Harbor Freight snatch block. Okay, Nathan, stop.